In a world that moves too fast, this is your invitation to pause, to explore the space between thought and wonder, where science meets story and emotion meets insight. Here, curiosity is more than a question. It's a way of being. You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.
February can be loud. Everywhere you look, there's talk of love, connection, partnership, heart-shaped everything with curated joy and highlight reels of togetherness. And when you're already feeling lonely, that noise can slowly turn into a question that you didn't invite, but you can't ignore. What's wrong with me? Not all at once, not dramatically, just quietly, like a drip you didn't notice until it soaked through. So I want to start by saying this clearly, plainly, and without conditions. Lonely does not mean you're broken. Lonely does not mean you're unlovable. And lonely does not mean you have failed at life. Hi nerds, if we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Angel, a mental health professional and the creator of Nerdy Psychology, where we talk about mental health in real, grounded, and human ways, especially the things people don't usually say out loud. And today I want to talk directly to the people who feel a little more exposed this month. The people who feel like February shines a spotlight on something they've been quietly carrying for a long time. But before we go further, today's conversation explores loneliness, relationships, and emotional connection. And if this topic feels tender right now, feel free to pause, take breaks, or come back when it feels supportive. You don't have to push through to prove anything. Adult loneliness is incredibly common and incredibly misunderstood. Most adults don't feel lonely because they're antisocial or broken or doing something wrong. Most adults feel lonely because life changed, because they work from home and they no longer have those casual daily contacts, or they've retired and lost structure and rhythm and shared purpose. Maybe they've moved. Maybe they transitioned roles. Maybe they just entered new seasons of life and their social circles shifted quietly instead of dramatically. Or maybe life just simply got quieter. And none of that is a character flaw. That's just context. Loneliness often shows up not when life is falling apart, but when life rearranges itself. Let me tell you about scenarios I see all the time in the counseling room. Someone who did everything they were supposed to do. They built a life, they showed up, they worked hard, they cared for others. And then something shifted. And maybe it was shifting that work environment to home or retiring, or maybe their kids grew up, maybe friendships changed and drifted. Nothing dramatic happened. No big rupture, no big fight, no clear loss. Just fewer invitations, quieter weekends, longer stretches without meaningful conversations. And they'll say something like, I don't hate my life, I just feel disconnected. That kind of loneliness can feel especially confusing because it just doesn't come with like this clear explanation. People start thinking, well, I should be grateful. Other people have it worse. Or why does this feel so heavy? But here's the truth. Loneliness doesn't mean something is wrong with your life. It just often means your life has changed faster than your connections could adapt. And then comes in the beast of comparison. They scroll, they observe, they notice couples and families and friend groups and think, everyone else seems to have people. But comparison hides context. You don't see the marriages that feel emotionally empty, or the friendships that exist out of obligations, or the social circles where no one feels safe enough to be real. Being surrounded by people is not the same thing as feeling connected. Loneliness doesn't mean you're behind. It just often means you're craving depth, not noise, presence, not performance, connection that feels mutual instead of draining. Here's where loneliness becomes painful, not because of the feeling itself, but because of the stories that gets attached to it. The story sounds like, I should be past this by now. Or if I was more interesting, this wouldn't be happening to me. Or everyone else figured something out and I feel like I've missed it. Those stories aren't truth. That's shame layering itself on a very human experience. And shame has a way of turning neutral information into self-attack. Loneliness becomes suffering when it turns into self-judgment, when it turns into shame. Loneliness is not proof something is wrong with you. Loneliness it's a signal. It says, connection matters to me. I value being seen, and I'm wired for relationship. That's not weakness, that's just emotional health. The real risk isn't loneliness itself. The risk is what people do because of the loneliness they're experiencing. Things like staying in unhealthy relationships, or accepting emotional crumbs of connection, or silencing their own needs to avoid being alone. Rushing attachment out of fear. Loneliness should invite intention, connection, and not self-abandonment. Okay, I want to say this clearly. A quiet life is not a failed life. A small circle is not incomplete. Being without a partner does not mean you're missing a piece of yourself. You are already whole, even if your connections feel scarce right now. If loneliness is showing up for you, try asking, what kind of connection am I longing for? Is this about companionship or understanding or being seen? What feels missing? And what still feels intact? Those questions move you from panic to curiosity to clarity. This is something I explore more deeply in my workbook, helping people put language to emotional experiences like loneliness, so it doesn't automatically turn into shame or urgency. Naming emotions accurately changes how we respond to them. Name what you're actually feeling. Understand what it's signaling, and choose a step without pressure. So here's your takeaway for this week. Loneliness does not mean you need to rush your life. It means your nervous system is asking for meaningful connection and not just proximity. And meaningful connection begins with honoring yourself. If this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more Tuesday conversations. And if you're open, you can reflect in the comments. What kind of connection do you wish you had more of right now? If this season feels quiet, it doesn't mean you're invisible. It means you're in a chapter where connection needs intention and intention needs courage. We'll keep talking about this together, and you can join us for Food for Thought Fridays, where we're going to be taking this concept apart in a different way. Until then, be curious, stay kind, and keep your mind nerdy. That's a wrap. See you next week.
You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind